Hey, my name is Ryan Postel, co-founder of CodeStitch, and in this video, we're going to go over what you need to do as soon as you paste a stitch in your project. Because there's a few things you have to do that actually make using CodeStitch a lot easier and a lot faster and more intuitive. So right away, we're going to look at this stitch. This is a side-by-side reverse, and when we look at the code, I already pasted it in here for video purposes. The first thing you're going to notice is we have a root styles declaration for all of our variables. Now, every stitch in the entire library will be using the exact same variables, minus the primary and secondary. Those are very stitch specific, but all of them will be using these variables for everything. And that's how we keep our library uniform, because when you use CodeStitch, we want you to be able to put together a website really fast and have everything look like it belongs together. Where, well, part of that is they all have to also have the same values for their font sizes, colors, and spacing. So that's why we have these here. So the first thing you do is you grab your root styles, you copy, you delete them, and then we add them to your root style sheet, which I already added here. Now, that's not the only thing. We also have our font family. That is for the live preview, so that when you hit the live preview button to see it live, it has a font family on it so that it can match the design. And then when you paste it into your project, it's also there so that it also matches the design and matches the preview. So that's just for consistency purposes. You can go ahead and delete that. You don't need it. And then we got our CS topper, title, and text. We're going to copy these, delete them, and we're going to paste them into your root style sheet, which I already did, as well as your CS button solid. I'm just going to delete this real quick, and I'm going to show you what these things are. Over here, this is your CS topper. It's on top of the H2. This is your CS title, and this is your CS text. So this will be the same on every page so that we can maintain consistency. And this is really important. So when you build an entire website with CodeStitch, you just pull these values out, put them in your global style sheet, and every stitch that you add, you just remove them, and they will pull their styles from your global style sheet, so that when you have your whole website made, if you want to change the font size of the H2s or the colors, or if you want to change your topper here, you just do it in one spot, and it changes everywhere in the site. So it makes edits a lot easier. And just to demonstrate, let's grab this centered one here. So let's get the code. I'm going to copy the HTML. Let's pop it here at the bottom. Save. And grab the CSS. I'm using less. We're going to copy, and let me just collapse this so that you can see what we're working with here. Paste, and the first thing I'm going to do, since I already have it, I'm going to remove the root. I'm going to remove the font family. I'm going to scroll down, and I'm going to remove the topper, title, and text. And I'm going to remove the button solid. Now, when I save, you'll see that we have it styled here, and it's styled exactly the same here. We removed it from the stitch, and we put it in our root style sheet so that they all are consistent across the entire website. Now, you might have noticed that we have an override. So we leave these in here, and this is why I left a very detailed comment to explain it. So while we have the same styles for every topper, title, text, some sections need to have a little more specific styling. So we have these overrides that are section specific. Like this one has the CS text to be 1000 pixels wide instead of the normal 650. And if we look at the side-by-side up here, we have another override on the CS title. So we leave this in here because this makes it 17 characters wide instead of the 700 or so pixels wide by default it is. And then you notice this CS text here has a weird margin bottom. So this CS text that's inside of the side-by-side has a very specific override for it. And this is only for the inside of a a side-by-side. So the margin bottom for this CS text will be 16 pixels on all of them. So if we go up here, that will be this CS text. So they will all have a margin bottom of 16, except the last one, which will have a margin bottom of 32. And that is what is creating this. So we want all of our paragraphs to have that 16 pixel gap between them, but you want to have that double gap on the last one to separate it from the next visual element, which in this case is the button. And every side-by-side has a call to action button. So that is why we have it in there. Every CS text will have a margin bottom except for the last one. And this is a very specific override for side-by-side stitches so that we can have that design structure. And what's neat is we can delete this, like we can delete one and save, and it will still maintain the same design system. So that was a very deliberate action to do these overrides, because every section, every stitch is unique, and it has different styles that it needs to make it look the way it's supposed to look. So you can't just have that in one uniform style that we pulled out. So that's why we made them all have a base default style, and then every stitch may or may not have their own overrides. And that is only for the section specific styles. This CS content div that I wrapped around all of them right here, this is what dictates their text alignment and their arrangement. So this text align sends them to the left, and align items flex start sends it to the left. So everything in here is now pushed to the left. But if we look at this centered one for the why choose us, this CS content is centered, and all of the elements inside of it are centered as well. So that is what's giving us our different arrangements here. It's using the same styles, the same colors, the same variables, everything, but that CS content div is telling it to do different things in different stitches. And this is how we've organized all of our code so that it's more uniform and easier to edit. So it might seem a little cumbersome to have to remember to remove these elements, but it is what allows us to have more control over our website and our design. So let's just for repetitive purposes here, let's grab another one. Let's grab this guy just to see the process and see the flow. So I'm going to grab the HTML. We're going to go to the bottom. We're going to paste that HTML and save. I'm going to grab my CSS, the less, copy, and I'm going to paste again at the bottom here. And again, I'm going to go to the top. I just got to remove my root because we already have it. I got to remove my font family, and then we have a CS topper, we have a title, and we have a text, but we have a text override, so we leave that, and then we remove our button solid. That's it. Those are the only things you ever have to remove in our stitches. So if we look back at our preview site, now we got this, and it's all spaced appropriately. So let's say we don't like the font size. Maybe we want it to be smaller because we have a design that calls for maybe it's supposed to be 32 pixels instead of 49. So now all we have to do is go to our root variables. Here's our header font size that they're all pulling from. And let's just change this to, well, if this is already 31 pixels, let's go up, or let's go down. Let's go down to 3, which is going to be 48 pixels. So I'm going to save, and now everything is smaller. Now they're 48 pixels, just like that. And let's say I want them to be all caps. So let's go to our title, and I'm going to go text transform, and we're going to do uppercase. We're going to save, and now everything is uppercase. Every CS title on every stitch in our entire website will now be uppercase. So that is kind of the true power between our stitches in our library and how interconnected they all are. It's more than just looking at the components as an individual and looking at the whole that they make, and how do we make that whole easier to edit and maintain. And that is the philosophy we had when we wrote our code. We wanted to find a way to make that as easy as possible without needing frameworks to do this all. So this is all just HTML and CSS, and this is the most logical way for us to come up with a way to do this. So this is how you use CodeStitch to its fullest potential. This is what you should be doing after every stitch. Just pull out your common variables, your topper, title, text, your buttons, your variables, and your font family, copy and paste them, and then get rid of them on every stitch. And then you can control them on every single stitch in your entire library all at once, or I'm sorry, entire website all at once. So that's all I have for this video. I just wanted to show you the process of copy and pasting and the things you need to take out and put into your global style sheet, and why it matters. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you enjoy CodeStitch. Thanks for watching.